Kirk Lagrasta. What is the one city ordinance you would change immediately, and how would you change it? Mr. Lagrasta.
What I would like to change is from commercial to residential. Right now it's lopsided. It's 92% residential and only 8% commercial. So some of the land ordinances that I want to change is I want to create more commercial land so we can bring industry to the Cape, which will help take some of the burden off of the taxpayers.
How many hours per week do you plan to devote to this job? Specifically, how many of those hours will be spent in office, available for meetings with or calls from constituents?
Mr. Lagrasta.
If elected, I plan to be in my office 8 hours a day working a 40-hour work week. I don't consider people's lives as a part-time industry. I want to be here full-time for the people. I will be on call 24/7. People have my phone number, and they will reach me at all times of the day or night, and I will be able to address any and all of their questions because I feel the council should listen to the citizens. They're the ones that are paying my salary, and I'll be there for them. Thank you.
Kirk, how would you streamline the process to make it easier for someone to open a small business in Cape Coral?
First thing I would do is work with the Economic Development Department, Dana Burnett and all his workers. I would streamline it by hiring a liaison to work with small businesses so they can get acquainted to the procedures that we have and walk them through each procedure as they cross that bridge. And I think that'll be the way to bring more business to the Cape, and that's how I'm going to streamline it. Also, I want to do reduction in taxes, one of them like the PST tax, which they don't have in Estero or Bonita. I think it's easy to open up a business over there where you'll have 10% going into your bottom line, so it makes it much more harder to do business here in the Cape. So I want to promote business-friendly ideas to the Cape to achieve these goals. Thank you.
What is your opinion on the proposed city budget? If you believe it needs cuts and/or additions, where and how much would you cut? Where or how much would you add? And if you could be specific with dollar amounts, I'd appreciate that.
The operating fund has about $181 million in it, and the general fund has about $38 million. What we should do is pay off the debt, run the city more efficiently, have the services run more efficiently, assess the city's wants, because you can't always get what you want, and the needs for each department. Make sure each department's running efficiently. Pay off the debt so we can free up other monies that are locked up, such as the gas tax revenue, which is $7 million because it's locked up in bonds for the next 20 years. So that's what I want to do. If we have a surplus, pay down the debt and let the departments run more efficiently. Thank you.
What are your suggestions, solutions for the often controversial Chiquita lock? Mr. Lagrasta.
I too am for the removal of the Chiquita lock. I think that will increase the values of people's properties around the surrounding area, make it easier for boaters to enjoy our wonderful canal systems that we have and to go out into the river and into the Gulf of Mexico. I will work personally with the DEP, the Army Corps of Engineers, the BOCC, state and county legislators, because not one person can have this removed, and it's not done until it's done, until everything's signed at the bottom line. So that's what I want to do. I want to remove this lock, and I want to work with the other legislators to get it done. Thank you.
The city imposed 2 new taxes a couple of years ago as part of a revenue diversification plan, a public services tax and a fire assessment to recapture some of the costs of providing fire services. Do you support these taxes? If not, what other sources of revenue could be used in their stead for immediate replacement of that revenue?
I personally am not for the PST or the FSA. To me, this is not revenue diversification, it's revenue confiscation. And I'll tell you why. There's constitutional protections in place to safeguard our homeowners. And this bill went around the 3% protection, so there's no caps or year-to-year limits on it, and there's no sunset clause. So eventually, as the department gets bigger and we create more, build more fire homes and equip them and hire more personnel with pensions, this is going to make your ad valorem taxes look cheap compared to the fire service assessment. There's no exemptions for religious organizations, disabled people, veterans, and there's no write-off on your tax deductions. If it went 100% to the fire department, that's a different story. It doesn't. They're going to use some of this money, I hear, to beautify City Hall, which I think is wrong. And as far as the FSA, it brought in more dollars than the mill reduction, so you're paying more in taxes.
As a potential council member charged with determining whether the city should become its own electric utility, can you justify spending about $500 million on a purchase when nothing really appears to be broken?
For the LCEC takeover, I'm totally against that. I'm for the city, though, looking into a study and doing their due diligence. Maybe we can renegotiate and get lower rates. It's a 30-year contract which started in 1986 and it's coming due next year in 2016. But at $500 million, the residents are going to pay for this with rate increases. LCC hasn't raised our rates in over 7 years. The city doesn't know anything about running a utility company. And when the hurricanes came through here, LCEC restored our power in record times. If anyone's to blame for higher electric rates, it's the city who put the public service tax on it. Just look at what we pay for water rates. Thank you.
Should the city of Cape Coral set its wage compensation bar at the 75th percentile? If not, where should that bar be set?
I personally think that you get pride in the workforce when you pay them, but I personally believe the 75th percentile is the wrong direction for the city to take. You have to look at the costs this will incur on the taxpayers. The employees are paid fairly well. There are some departments that we can look into to increase and to correct the retention problems. There should be a cost of living adjustment, and they should be compared to surrounding jurisdictions when it comes to pay. Thank you.
One area we didn't touch on was the Bimini Basin project. Is the Bimini Basin project our ticket from transforming the city from a bedroom community to a tourism destination?
It should be funded by private developers, though. I don't want this on the backs of the taxpayers. I want to bring in more tourism. I think this will do it, and it will create more jobs, and it will help beautify our city, which is much needed. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an important election. We need to beautify our city, use our natural resources to bring in tourism dollars here to the Cape. We need to create a benchmark for city spending, which will improve the city's fiscal position. We need to bring in corporate industry to North Cape by the VA hospital. Large land parcels and infrastructure are already in place for high-tech industry. People can work there and have good jobs and keep it in the Cape. We need to streamline city regulations, reduce impact fees, create startup tax-free zones, eliminate corporate income taxes, eliminate assessments and PST taxes for these corporations, which will make them come here. This is real revenue diversification, which will fund city services and take the burden off of the residents. So please come out and vote for Kirk Lagrasta, District 2. Thank you.